Good morning. First off, I'd like to report on Kentucky Raceway. We went out there. We had that's a huge thing. We join out there. That is not our ministry. That is Kentucky Raceway Ministries. They have between 200 and 300 volunteers out there at that race at Kentucky Raceway every year. That's a NASCAR race for those guys. Those of you that don't know that. There's all kinds of places that you can serve out there. We served in 3 different places. We had 12 people from 3 churches in our association join the effort this year, and we served in the campground, the kids zone, and kitchen ministries. Now we feed so many people out there. We feed everybody, the 200 to 300 people that are volunteers. We feed those. We feed all the employees of the racetrack. And we feed like the security people, and there are a lot of them. A lot of them are mounted on 4-wheelers, some horses, and this and that, and we feed them all. So there's a lot of stuff to do there. It's an amazing thing that 2 men started out of the back of a pickup truck 20 years ago, and it is expanded into this. So we go out there and we join them. We play under their rules. So you will have to have training if we go next year. Those of you who do go, we are going next year. I didn't want to leave anything in there about that, but we will have to have training next year. We have to go by Kentucky Raceway rules. They set the rules. The ministry has to go with those rules. So you can't bring your own stuff and hand it out. You've got to share the gospel certain ways. You're not allowed to go in campers. If you're in the campground ministry, you're not allowed to do certain things. So we have to have a training and get all that stuff straightened out a little bit better than we have right now. But we will do that. Faith Community Church. That's a big one going on right now. Y'all know about that, and you're going to hear a little bit more about it later. Great strides have been made up there, and I want to recognize a few of the people that's been in. There was a mission team from North Carolina that came in and served there, did a lot of work for them. Cameron Baptist took their mission week and served there, and they're also serving there on Saturdays. Moundsville Baptist came down one Saturday and served. Indian Creek has served there several years. Open Door Baptist has served there 2 or 3 days or 4 days. I don't know how many days they've been there, but I know that they're right now. They're there right now, putting sheeting on the trusses. And I know there's a lot of other churches that have been involved and individuals been involved. And what is amazing about this ministry that really gets my heart, and I hope it gets yours too, is you just baptized 4 people recently, right? Was that what it was within the last month? These people, some of them are older Christians. It's been Christians for a while. Some of them are brand new Christians that just got baptized in the last year. Some aren't Christians, but they're building the church. They're from the neighborhood where the church is. It's a very rough neighborhood. You might hear a little bit of language that you don't really want to hear because these guys are unsaved. But they're building their church. And they're building the church that they're going to get saved in. The Lord has led them to work on this church. All volunteer. And they're not saved. How many of you in this room ever worked on a church that wasn't saved before you were saved? Nobody. It's an amazing thing to go up and watch. I urge all you churches. They work every Saturday. They work other days during the week too, but I know that if you go up on Saturday, you're going to be working. So they're going to be doing something. And they're trying to get it under the roof before the weather hits, and it's going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen a month ago, but it's going to happen. The Lord's blessed them. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. Hillbilly 100. That took place Labor Day weekend. Saturday, we had a kayak race. We handed out waterproof cell phone bags for the people that didn't think about being in a kayak with a cell phone. And in that, we had some tracks, and we also got to share the gospel with a lot of people. I didn't get to go to that one. I had to go. My sister had heart surgery, and I had to go out of town. But we had plenty of help there, assisting racers getting their kayaks in and out of the water. Prayed with them for the race. Prayed with them after the race. We had planned on doing a camper, going to the campgrounds and going to camper thing like we do out in Kentucky, but we didn't have enough volunteers to do that, so we canceled that. And then on the day of the race, we ended up with 5 volunteers and handed out over 400 pamphlets with information about the race and also there was the road to salvation through our Lord Jesus Christ was inside that pamphlet. And so it's a really nice pamphlet that over the years of having that ministry at that racetrack, we found that if you just hand them a track, you're going to find it on the ground. But if you hand them a track that's got a little information about the race or the racetrack with the track inside of it that built into it, they're going to take it home with them. So that's what we do. And is it a little bit tricky? Yeah, it's a little bit tricky, but if they take that thing home and they read it later on, that's what we need to do. Next year we have the same events planned, but we are going to become a lot more involved in our communities with National Day of Prayer. So how many churches here participate in National Day of Prayer now? Somewhere. I know Wheeling. I know there's one in Moundsville. I don't know if there's one here in Cameron. My wife and I are regional. What? There is. Okay. My wife and I are regional coordinators. We are set up to come in and tell y'all how to put on a National Day of Prayer if you don't have one. So if you're willing to, if you want to do that, we will come up and we've got the whole thing that tells you how to go about it. You don't want to have it in your churches. I'm going to tell you that right off the bat. You don't want to have it in churches because nobody but your church people will come. This is a community event. You want to have it on courthouse steps. You want to have it in a park. You want to have it in places like that. And I can tell you how to secure all that and make it all legal. It's not illegal. If you walk into the courthouse and you go to a county commission meeting and you say, I want to reserve the front lawn of the courthouse on this date, they cannot tell you no, and they can't let anybody else use it that day. So you can do that, and I mean, so you have it. And what we need to do is we need to get out of these four walls. I mean, it's great to have a really nice church like this, and we all meet in here and we have meetings in churches all the time. We need to get out of the walls. The people that are lost are outside there. We're praying that the people that come here, they're already here, whether they're lost or not, they're inside the church. So that's where they need to be. And what we need to do is we need to go out and we need to reach the ones that aren't in the churches, the ones that are lost and not in the churches. And that's what we need to do. And the other things we're going to do is we're going to do the same things we've been doing. We're not adding anything as of right now because of lack of volunteers. So we're going to go to Kentucky again. If you look on this report, by the way, I'm reading on, it's on 20. I should have probably told you that. Sorry about that. On 21, there's the flyer for next year's trip. Ron McCoy was the first one that went on this trip. This was one of the first ones we did when I started working with him. And he said that this was the cheapest, best mission trip he'd ever been on. He said, if people say that they can't afford this, it costs $20 and $10 for an extra shirt. So for a total of $30, you get 2 shirts, lodging, and food for the whole time you're there. So, I mean, you can't beat it. You can't say it's not because it's in Cincinnati. It's right outside Cincinnati. It's actually in Kentucky. I know that sounds weird, but Cincinnati's right across the river from Kentucky. But it is a trip to Cincinnati, so it's about a 5-hour trip. And that's the hardest part of it, is driving out and driving back. The rest of it, you stay in a church, camping style. If you've got an air mattress or a cot, you're good to go, and the rest of it is just, if you spend any more money in that, that's just because you wanted to. They will feed you. So I hope we get a lot of people into that, and we will be doing the Hillbilly again. We're going to keep on trying it. We didn't have anybody from any of the other churches come, so Indian Creek covered Hillbilly 100. So we've done that 2 years, and that's been the result. I urge you to come down. There's 10 to 15,000 people that converge on Tyler County Raceway that weekend. We had 5 people talking to them as they came into the gate. We had, as I said, we handed out 400 pamphlets, but we were basically just handing out pamphlets. We had a few people stop and actually could share the gospel with them. But while that was happening, there was 300 people streaming by us on, that we didn't even get a hand of pamphlet to. So we need help. So I appreciate all the help you can give us. And that's it. Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, our prayer ministry update with